folks, this is the second round of the Do Qualifier tournament between Andreas and Laren. Andreas in the North Pole position up here, and Laren in the South Pole position. Now, I know the last game I was very much rushed into it, so in this one we've got the time to sort of run over the map. Excuse me, I've just wolfed down my dinner in order to get this game underway. So, as you can probably see, Roncat has designed this so that it's pretty much like a MOBA, if you will, where you have multiple lanes. You have the left lane over here, the right lane, right lane down here, or the east or west or whichever, and the central lane being that for air. And you also have these sort of side quest expansion-y type things around while your main base is sort of filled with mechs on both sides, which is really nice, really nicely balanced. Unfortunately, the height range is somewhat rather ridiculous. Alright, so let's get up some picture-in-picture stuff so we can look at both bases at once. So we've already seen the scout coming out from Laren, and he's probably going to head straight up to the north. They're actually going to see each other here and know pretty much where the other player is, but they still need to see which factory they've gone for first, as that'll sort of designate the rest of their play. Apologies, I'm really quite thirsty. So, a couple of skitters, a little bit perhaps unnecessary, especially sending them both in there rather than leaving one at one of the expansions would probably be a wiser choice. In fact, they're coming on both sides, in fact. So that's 4 skitters out from Andreas already, and then a fabricator while the commander just p-gens up. Bumblebee's out next from Andreas, while Laren is only just starting his second air. Meanwhile, Andreas now beginning to queue up everything there. Let's have a look at what Laren's queued up. Not a whole bunch. Got a vehicle factory queued up after that, but a bot factory queued up from Andreas. He's going to make this an asymmetrical game, I would hope, but the bot factory will definitely be used to raid these sort of expansions down the side. Now, when I played this yesterday as a sort of tester of this map, I spawned in the South Pole where Laren is at the moment. I went air second, as he's doing. I didn't get as many skitters out, but I got a couple of air fabs and sent one over here. One of them got killed, unfortunately, but one of them did manage to successfully set up shop over here. I got another ground vehicle fabber over to this little bit here and set up shop over here as well, while my opponent was sort of hunkered in. Unfortunately, doing that, because I'm not so great at the game, I neglected my factory production and my unit production, so eventually I just got overwhelmed. Now, AndreasG, Bumblebees ahoy, spots a fabricator. Is he going to get the kill? Not quite. We'll have to see the next time round. Again, just missing. It needs to come in rather from a horizontal front, straight on. Unfortunately, the micro there didn't quite pay off from Andreas. Not Andreas, sorry, Laren. But he is getting up all the other fabricators now. Looking at Andreas, beginning to pump out ants. The first, second ant is on the field, actually. The first was claimed by Laren, following it up with the second one. And even the second vehicle factory now in production. All these fabbers here, just power, power, power. What on earth? And all of these vehicle factories there, while the commander was getting all this power, he can now support, or one would at least hope he can support, these vehicle factories. But of course, once these fabricators have sort of sorted out this power line, he will be out of the deficit there just a little bit. Hummingbirds beginning to be produced as well. Might be wise to do a little bit of something against that little skitter there. Bumblebee's coming in now. This is going to be the danger. All of these bot fabs are going to go down, although they are going to get shot out of the sky a little bit there by the hummingbird. There isn't enough there, so one of them did go down. This one's going to pick that up so it doesn't decay too much. This one, unfortunately, will decay unless he's going to not bother picking that one up. So we've now got 3 mechs. 2 of them are going to get wasted, unfortunately, unless he changes that. A little bit of lag again. Really not wise to, you know, but I guess he's sort of microing everything else a little bit. Laren now getting up his units, moving around the map. Was there a little hole in the planet there, it seemed? Interesting. Anyway, but yes, he's got the east lane covered now. West lane a little bit beginning with Andreas getting a little bit of a scout there just to block. And indeed one back there as well, just to make sure Laren doesn't expand that way, or even if he does, at least know about it, because skitters do not have their weapons any longer. And just now seeing a couple of bot fabs over here to claim all of this mechs, which is a very good idea, because it's going to mean he's not so much in his deficit. But he does need to get out a few more vehicle factories, because there are units beginning to encroach on his base. Laren evening up the factory odds there. 7 to 5 currently, so that'll take it to 7 to 6. Although this one's about to be completed, so that'll change again to something like 8-6. Does need more factories there, but at least they are producing things on both sides now. Andreas will probably be able to just about cope with these units that are coming in now. They'll actually remain a little bit symmetrical here. But unfortunately this Faber might go down. Indeed it does. Mex goes down as the meat shield first, and this Faber's going to walk straight into that. No, he's not. He's going to get picked up and moved away. Very good choice there indeed. So we've got very good claiming of this expansion here by Laren. Is going to stop that expansion from going up too soon from Andreas. Just keep him on the back foot there. Looking at the economy tab, Andreas desperately needs that metal. Desperately, desperately. Just all this focusing down on these P-gens is probably what's bringing him into the gutter in regards to his meddling. And now lots of air, heavy air transition. Excuse me, wasn't expecting that. Although I guess he's seeing this sort of reasonable airplay from Laren. I would say call it moderate. But you got a lot of hummingbirds there to bumblebees. Fabricator just goes down. And another bombing run, taking out even more fabricators. Plus, Laren has the claim over the air now, so it might be an idea for Andreas to factor in a little bit more ground AA into his composition, just to make sure. Because the problem with air at the moment is, because Hummingbird is the only air-to-air unit, if you have more Hummingbirds, you control the air, basically. More or less. I mean, of course, if you have sort of meat shields and stuff, you can maybe do a little bit of sort of unit balancing, if you will. You know, sort of distractor shots while you take down the main targets. And unfortunately now here we see Laren moving in on the western lane, taking out this little expansion here. The fabricator goes down as well, so that factory is a goner. Air zooming over as well. More factories here. This fabricator is going to go down, unfortunately, because these tanks here are going to take out this factory very soon indeed. That radar as well, losing Andreas his intel, although he does have another radar further up into his base, I would imagine, otherwise we wouldn't be seeing these little dots. Where is that radar? Here it is, just about there, which is good. However, these vehicles here are just going to sort of get this around. They're going to bypass these ones here that Laren can probably just about see, but because Andreas cannot quite, he's not quite in range, so Laren avoiding the losses there and actually skirting right round and into the base at this point. In fact, I'm going to move this one over to the eastern lane here so we can just see what's going on rather than looking at the bases. Preferably I need another picture-in-picture so we can monitor both bases at the same time. But there we are. Sorry if I sound quite tired, I've been really exhausted this week for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know quite why that is. So, looks as though Andreas has just about managed to hold off on this western lane now. He's going to need a few more factories and a bit more metal if he's actually going to maintain this. Moving the commander in to build rather than fabricators, which is good. Those factories are actually going to get up in reasonable time. Unfortunately, he will have to reclaim some stuff before he can build those factories, which is going to take a fair bit of time. There goes the first factory now. So that'll start producing units. What are we getting out of these air factories? Hummingbird, hummingbird, and more hummingbirds. So he's definitely wanting to claim the air. As I said earlier, the more hummingbirds you have, the greater chance you have at controlling the air. Let's have a look at Laren's base now. Moving to T2 air, advanced air, so we might get some Hornets, or indeed some gunship play in. Kestrels, I believe they're called, yes. So, we'll have to see, but of course Andreas has now scouted that, I believe. Let's have a look. Yes, he has. He also sees all the factories and the production. I think Laren is actually falling behind on production now. 15 factories to 9. And both players, goodness me, that economy. Oh, that economy. Every player using every ounce of economy that they are getting. Inferno's moving in now. They can soak up a little bit more damage. However, the ants can preferably stay a reasonable distance away. The Inferno's not noticing this or moving in. Here they go now, taking out an ant there. Doing a little bit of damage, but ultimately losing their number. Andreas claiming that little bit of that lane there. Laren, however, moving up a little bit. So he's claiming territory now, and he might even, as a result of that, claim these metal points, further denying Andreas the metal he needs to bring out into the consistent green. Dogfights going on. Bumblebees trying to do what they can, not quite getting off the... oh, in fact, they do just about get the hit on that fabricator there. And in fact, Laren has got a little ant here and just sort of sat... sat there sort of thinking, you know, I'm not here, I'm just a spy. Let's, you know, ignore me, please. Which I find rather amazing. So there we have it. I'm just going to zoom that back out to about here. There you are. T2 air going up from Andreas now as well. So it's going to be a race to the T2. Laren has already got it. Pelicans? What is he planning? That's a lot of pelicans. What on earth is he planning? I suspect T2 vehicle factory will come up shortly and Vanguard drops perhaps. But I don't get it. I don't get why that many pelicans. I really don't. Unless there are definitely T2 vehicles going up somewhere, I really don't see what the point in those pelicans are. We'll have to wait and see, because that's going to excite me later on in this game. Which is really quite close at this point, but Andreas really pulling back the air power now as a result of these factories. He is still really low in his economy, unfortunately. He's just about scraping through, luckily enough, but that T2 area needs to get up and maybe get out some Kestrels or indeed some Hornets. Hornets are now basically sort of mobile catapults. And indeed, here they come out now from Laren. There's the first... was that the second? No, it is the first. Second coming out there. And all these... I just do not understand... Ah, there we go. They're just putting in regular units, just sort of dropping them on a sort of ferry path. In fact, it looks as though they might be going round to the back of the expansion. This is an incredibly clever move, although rather than the expansion, they're just going into the base. Pelicans are dropping like flies, but the Infernos get into the power. This is going to cause a lot of issues right here, because for Andreas, who's not running so great in efficiency at the moment, is going to find that he gets even worse off. A few spinners in there as well, popping out the bumblebees as they come in, so that's a lot of power just lost. 5, 6 P-gens. For definite, maybe even 7 with a little bit of luck here. No, unfortunately they've been chased off, so they won't lose 7, but 6. Goodness me. Efficiency not so great for Andreas at this point. The eastern lane now, let's have a look. Seems to be sort of doing reasonably alright actually for Andreas. He's sort of pushed back this little enclave here. However, Laren does claim all of these mechs, and Laren is actually floating on all of his resources at the moment. Might be an idea to move to T2 vehicles. Here's the T2 vehicles now actually, after entrenching in here. He probably needs to move his commander out there to get up some better defences and faster. But the T2 vehicles, the Vanguards now do D-gun basically, and here's the Hornets with the mobile catapults. Massive range on those, and the only Hummingbirds really are effective enough to counter them. Hornets are basically like sitting bricks, except they're bricks that fire bloomin' javelins in your direction. By which I mean the brick can't defend itself, but the javelin is, you know, bloomin' ridiculous. There it goes. What? He's hitting his own factory there, what? I don't quite get that, but unfortunately because of the curvature of the planet, they're having a little bit of issue actually hitting off. Unfortunately they're sort of attacking, focusing down on a single unit, and in fact, no, they weren't. I thought 2 of their number had been lost there, but Andreas actually, I was just about to say, once we'd gone the Hornets, Andreas could move in and take out this expansion here, because he has been scouting it here with these planes. These hummingbirds that have just been sat here, good scouting. In fact, that's exactly what those ants are about to do. These hornets are going to defend really quite well there. T2 Air is now out from Andreas, and he's got his same number of hornets as well. He still needs to get up more power. Possibly, whoops, excuse me. The commander could probably do that and maybe even get some AA over the back there. And some PD. PD. T2 Vehicle Factory, why have you queued that up there, right next to all of this? Can you see that? Yes, you can. Why have you queued that? Why on earth? But with all of those fabricators, your efficiency is going to go flop, as is your factory, as all of these units move in now. Which indeed they are going to do. They are going to maybe get stumbled on a little bit of wreckage, but all of these fabricators are going to be able to, get sniped easily, I believe. Just a couple of hummingbirds there, taking them all out. And even these hornets here actually can sort of move in slightly and completely decimate all of this. Even if they were just a little bit closer, they could do that. And there's the power now going up from Andreas. Once that's up and running, Andreas could probably be in a much better situation actually, because the factory count, I believe, is still in Andreas' favour, indeed double that of Laren. However, Laren also getting out a lot of hummingbirds now as well. Really a good give and take game actually. Like Roncat said, it sort of played out like a MOBA. These hornets here sort of going over to take out this expansion, I suspect. And don't leave your hornets undefended, however, because if Laren sees those, he's just going to move his hummingbirds over there and they are going to get annihilated. Just a matter of time now before that actually happens. But, huge amount of damage actually that those hornets do with their little catapults. The pelters also doing a pretty good job here actually, although they don't seem to do all that much splash anymore. There you go. So these are sort of like brood, whatever the brood flyers were in StarCraft 2, brood lords. I believe is what they're called, where they sort of spawned and shot little gnarly chewy things which sort of run through your base and cause a right old pain. T2 vehicles still not up from Laren, who desperately needs to get those vehicles up and actually put in the cost efficiency of those pelicans, although they seem to have disappeared and or got shot down. There wasn't a second drop there. But these hornets here with all of these hummingbirds, goodness me, that's going to be painful. That's going to be very painful for Andreas, and he's going to have to deal with that. Bumblebees coming in as well. This could be it actually right here, because there's not enough anti-air from Andreas to really deal with this situation. I mean, they're all sat over here not doing a huge amount. They need to move back in so that Andreas can really sort this out, because these hornets are tearing through the base. In fact, the commander's about to go down. There's the snipe. GG, says Andreas. Very good game from Laren. See the power of T2 air actually, and this is the problem with air at the moment. It's a case of who has more hummingbirds really, when you bring it down to its most basic elements. The more hummingbirds, you have control of air. You have control of air, you can get hornets, and as long as they're out of range of the spinners, which is the only ground anti-air unit at the moment from my knowledge, which is built from the T1 vehicle and T2 vehicle factories, you're a bit scuppered. Not only that, but spinners are also super slow, so a single bumblebee, I believe, exchanges for a spinner, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that to be true. So you really want to be careful about what opening build you do and where you get your air, because what I tend to do is I tend to go vehicle first, air second, and then just constantly produce hummingbirds, and then just factor in economy after that, and just heavy vehicles. And if I see my opponent going heavy air, I maybe pop up 1 or 2 extra air factories, but I still factor in a lot of spinners. To that. So, thanks again for watching, folks. There's more PA on the way very soon indeed, so indeed subscribe for that. Don't forget to like and or leave any comments or feedback, because I am always on the lookout for it. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching, and as always, have a nice day.